All right, you guys, we're back on the Sefcik Show, episode 3. I'm excited, guys. It's going to be a special one today because, one, we have Katie Lee here, Lieutenant Governor that ran with me. Not only that, she's a professional athlete, a partner of mine in business, and I'm looking forward to really chatting with her, and you guys are going to learn a lot from her. But we also are going to be talking about, for the first time, you guys are going to hear us openly talk about the election process and what happened the last year and a half of our gubernatorial race. So this is going to be a special episode, but just like we do before every other episode, we got to pray in. So, Lord God, we just pray over this third episode that we have, and we just pray over our producer, pray over our audience today, and just ask that you just keep using us to serve your name, Lord God, and that we keep speaking in truth, and that we keep finding out how we truly should live our lives to benefit your will, Lord God. And we just pray for all those people out there that are hurting right now, or confused, or struggling with health, whether it's mentally or physically, whatever it may be, Lord God. Just let us truly be that light that people need, and continue to just work hard at everything that we do in your name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So 2 days ago was the election, the official election of 2022. It was on Tuesday. Today is Thursday. And, man, it has been a journey. And first of all, I got to thank my Lieutenant Governor, Katie Lee, for stepping up and being my Lieutenant Governor, especially on this race that we knew they were going to be coming at us. Mm-hmm. Right, Katie? Mm-hmm. And when a year and a half ago, when I was looking for who's going to be my treasurer, who's going to be my Lieutenant Governor, it was just like, I prayed about it, and God just gave me, we talked about it, and I said, Katie, I would love for you to be my Lieutenant Governor because she's a small business owner. She works harder than anybody else I know. And just for the record, these two women in this room are the best women I know when it comes to mentality and hard work, both physically and emotionally and spiritually and all that good stuff. Yep. So let's get into it, you guys. So a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit more than that, we announced our gubernatorial run. And 2 days ago, it ended. And now people are starting to see the results. They're starting to see the results.
The results.
I encourage all the audience listening right now to go to Google, go to the voting sites, Maryland Board of Elections, whatever you want to do, and type in Kyle Sefcik votes. Or just look up gubernatorial run votes so you can see the list of people. All 6 people, the Republican, the Democrat, the working class, the Green Party, the Libertarian, and us, the unaffiliated. And I want you to look at what they have down right now as the amount of votes that we received.
Very interesting.
Yes.
What is that number?
I'm perplexed because it's 0.
It is 0 right now.
I know for sure I voted.
I'm pretty sure I voted for myself. Did you vote for me, baby?
Of course I did.
Katie, did you vote for us?
Of course.
Katie, did you vote for us? So people are hitting us up, and I'm not talking like a few people. I'm talking hundreds, if not thousands, have now inboxed us, called us saying, "God, what's going on? It's 2 days after the election, and you're showing a big fat 0." Yeah. I truly believe this, that they will be pushing those. They will be putting votes in soon for us. They have to. They have all the hundreds of thousands of other people, their exact numbers, and they're saying it's official, and they have a goose egg for us, 0, 0, 0. People are starting to complain. People are starting to hit up because they're starting to see, why is this guy had so little votes so that we know we voted? Because there's people watching right now that are like, I voted for you, Kyle. And yes, you're right. It's been happening. We've been getting hundreds of messages as we speak. Our phones are blowing up.
How?
Why can't they just put our numbers in there, or correct numbers in there? Maybe they're trying to embarrass me. Maybe they're trying to play with it. I don't know. Right. We can say all we want, but as somebody in the gubernatorial process that I'm going to tell you about in a second, how much we've been messed with already. Yeah. I just wish they would put our true numbers in there, no matter what it is, and let's move on, right?
Yeah.
So I want to say this first of all. Congrats to Wes Moore, the Democrat winner. He did win. I'm going to make it very clear. We could be upset about it, but we knew he was going to win a year ago. You need to understand something, guys. I am not some person talking about, you guys watch a lot of podcasts of people that talk about other politicians, and they say this and they think they know the game. You're talking to someone who's been in the game for the last 2 years, actually in the gubernatorial race. So what I speak has the most credibility. I'm not saying this in cockiness. I'm just telling you straight up. This is as somebody who has been in the process and is on the certificate of candidacy and is on. You go and you see that we ran for governor and lieutenant governor of Maryland. So the things we share today, it's not to boost Democrats, not to boost Republicans, not to boost unaffiliated. It's just the truth, and that's what I wanted to see with this process. We always talk about politics, and we say the election cycle is rigged, and this and that and that. I wanted to see for myself. I don't want to say all this stuff if I don't even know. That's the problem we have in society today. It's everybody talking. He said, she said, blah, 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 blah. Democrats attack Republican, blah, blah. So I ran as unaffiliated to truly see the fairness in this game and how the machine is. And I say machine because it is a machine. I knew a year ago, Wes Moore, I got pics with him, blah, 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 and we talked, blah, 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 and we knew. He knew, I knew.
Yeah.
Guys, the dude was running. Why do you think Hillary Clinton and Biden were with him his final week before this thing? I mean, you have to understand, there was crazy power in our government. There was crazy power in the election process.
Yeah.
And I needed to see it with my own eyes before I spoke about it. Wes Moore did win. Maryland, you can be as mad as you want. Republicans, you can be as mad as you want. Wes Moore won regardless of what anybody wants to argue. And I will say this, and you guys mark this down. You guys can save this for the future. They are making this man. They are preparing this man to run for president in 4 years. Why do you think Biden and Clinton are literally in person with this man? He is the Obama 2.0. Yeah. Wes Moore is the Obama 2.0. 2 daughters, beautiful looking family, speaks amazingly. The dude speaks incredibly.
Articulate, yeah.
Who better for them to use, to build, to get it is that. That is, and I'm going to make this very clear. Elections is a game. It is a game. You understand? Katie, a year and a half ago, you were coming off, basically your deathbed in a way. You almost died last year. We're going to get into that later in the episode. I don't want to talk about that right now. But we went to the Board of Elections during COVID season, right? No one's going out and about, but me and you were always out and about regardless, and we'll talk about that later. But there we were. How did it feel to be, standing there in Board of Elections with our certificate of candidacy? At your young age, as a woman, what did that? What were you? Why did you want to get involved, and how did it feel?
It was a new experience for me. I never really thought I would get into politics. It was always something that I tried to avoid just because I know how sensitive people get, how angry people get. If you don't agree with them, they'll start attacking you, calling you names, all those types of things. So I always just tried to stay out of it. Being that I am kind of in the limelight, being on Instagram, you're an influencer, you're a figure, you're this and that. So people are definitely watching you, and they're watching you closely to see what you're doing, how you do it, and you're kind of a role model in a sense. So I didn't know that I would be running. You kind of just were like, hey, Katie, this is what God's telling us to do. Let's do it. So I was all about it. As you know, we don't really go half on anything. If we do something, we're going to do it wholeheartedly. We're going to put 110% into whatever we do. So it was kind of surreal being there because it was like actually processing, and you're like doing the paperwork, and we're taking pictures and stuff. So I think it was just God's way of having us serve our community, really trying to make an impact in a good way. Not to down, Republicans or Democrats or anything like that, but really just to shed light on a lot of the issues that people don't know about that go on in elections. They kind of just show up to vote, they see the paper, and they fill it out, and that's it. But the process of getting there, the paperwork that you had to submit, just the kind of the hassle they put you through.
True that.
This guy out of nowhere that just... Who is Kyle? What is this guy doing? Like, nobody knew about you in the political realm. They were just, used to those normal figures that they're used to seeing. So, I mean, for you, it was awesome because you're definitely shedding light on a lot of things that people don't know about the political process and how much what extent they will go to keep somebody like you out of the picture.
Yes.
Because you're basically probably their worst enemy in a way. You're a male Christian, middle class. Basically what they're trying to get rid of is people like us, people like you and me, just the middle class, working class citizens, Christians, all that type of stuff. So for me, I'm just glad that we did it because now I know. I mean, I kind of knew before how corrupt things were, but when you actually go through the process and you're coming and telling me these stories of how they're trying to fine you for this and fine you for that, and you're like, but why? Like if I'm following the process like all these other candidates, why can't I receive the same treatment? So it was crazy to witness, but here we are at the end, finish line. And I think we made an impact, even if a couple people might have opened their eyes to some things, then cool. Our purpose was completely worth it. just to have other people realize like, wow, maybe I was not, voting the right way like I thought, or maybe I wasn't looking into the policies that I thought I should have been looking into. So hopefully that's what we did in the end.
And that's why I said this is going to be a special show today, you guys, because we're going to be taking you down this road of like, she's just going to give a general kind of explanation about all the things that these two women had to knows the things I had to go through for this election. And I wasn't the type to just I didn't want to be that person that was always like just complaining about everything.
Yeah.
That's why people don't know yet. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I wanted to finish the run so then I can share truthfully with you guys as someone who did this gubernatorial race as unaffiliated to tell you now the truth. I was that person.
Yep.
Almost like a sacrifice in a way.
Yep.
I'm now telling you,
Yeah.
after all the hits and all the games and all the whatever, truly how it was.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing that up, Katie. Now, babe, how was it as a wife to somebody running in this election? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, share with the audience your true feelings about, or, thoughts about what it's like watching the process or seeing someone go through it that you're actually married to.
Well, first of all, babe, I thought that you were incredible at just how much work you put into it. Mm-hmm. And even though from the beginning you knew that this was something very unlikely to happen, you never gave up and you gave the whole thing a full chance to actually come to fruition. I remember from the very beginning when you were actually, very inflamed by the things that were happening in society and, all the injustices, being, kids, when people walked up to our gym and said, hey, you cannot be with Carter at our gym, even though it's the two of you in there by yourselves, even though you sleep nose to nose together every night, you cannot be with your son. You cannot be breathing the same air. And I remember that, you were just so strong in the way that you stood for things. And sometimes I would like wonder to myself, I was like, okay, Kyle, you were resisting, the rules and you're resisting the status quo so harshly. What can happen to you? And I was like, okay, Kyle's definitely going to go to jail for resisting. Gosh. And instead of backing down, I was really proud of you because you truly stood up and you were like, no, this is unconstitutional. You cannot do this in my place of business. You cannot do this with my family. You're just overstepping your authority, and I'm not gonna let that happen. So that was great. And then I saw you doing that. But then it started becoming a little frustrating because I saw you going through every single step that you had to go to. And in a little bit, actually, I want you to comment a little bit about the 10,000 signatures that you had to get on the ballot. Mm-hmm. And you worked hard and you were going on the streets and you were getting a huge percentage of that denied. And things just start wearing you out. But then you have a part of society that actually stand up for you. And they are fighting there with you. And they believe in the same things. And they want to see you doing the things that you did, and that brought hope. So if I had to put it in a way, I would be like small communities, the people that really mattered, the people that you were truly fighting for, it was beautiful to see their support. But when you turn to the big government and when you turn to the machine, you would be like, okay, they are purposefully making this impossible and hard and frustrating, and they just want you to make you hate your life and quit. That's what they want you to do.
Which is why you don't see anybody ever running, first of all, as unaffiliated for governor, and second of all, as a write-in for governor. That's why you don't see it. I understand. I remember we had those processes where, man, this is where people would quit. Then the next part, this is where people would quit. This is where people, that's why you never see it. But we're not quitters, are we, Katie?
No.
Not quitters. So overall, I was extremely proud of the two of you. You fighting the issue head on. Katie fighting head on with the detail that she was super sick at the time. So it was very eye-opening. I can say that.
Well, and I appreciate my wife too, because like, guys, you guys know how important, you need to understand how important it is to have that person you can talk to when you can't be like, blasting on social media or talk to anybody else really. because you don't want to be that person gossiping or talking about. But when you have all these emotions and you have to deal with all these tricks that people are playing and trolls and haters and this and that and blah 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 blah, it can get very overwhelming. And you have to have that at least one person you can go to snap you out of it. Like, Kyle, you're totally thinking wrong right there. Stop. Get out of it. Who are you trying to please, Kyle?
Yeah.
That was the best thing she ever told me. Yeah, that's the best thing she ever told me during this whole process was when I would start getting more talking about, oh, but they're saying this and this. Should I do this? Should I come back at this? Should I come back? She goes, Kyle, who are you trying to please here?
Right.
Who are you trying to serve here?
Right.
You care about all these people, or you care about what God's told you to do?
Right.
Because that's why we started running in the first place. God put it on my heart. We didn't want to get politically, but he opened our eyes to a lot of things and had us go through things for a purpose. And we had to do what he said. And thank God I did, because there are so many things we learned throughout this process that I would have never known if we didn't do this. Yeah. So I knew that no matter what with this election, I would win. And I'll tell you why. If I won the election. If I won but even if I lost, which I did, I still listened to God 100%, and the character I was able to build. I feel so much stronger, and most importantly, I understand now. I see the game, I see the system, I see the truth, and I'm telling you right now, both Republicans and Democrats have been wrong on many things. Yeah. Yeah. That's why I remain unaffiliated. I'm gonna stand outside I'm telling you guys, as a gubernatorial candidate, I have seen both sides, both the voters and the people running. It's a complete disaster. Yeah. And I'm just telling you straight up. So I want to go back to why we even jumped in the first place. And you were talking about how she mentioned how in my place of business, our gym, MMA and Sport, we had health officials. Katie, how many times were health officials showing up to the spot?
I think 3 or 4 times.
You saw 3. That was just when you were there.
Yeah. I was just
not to mention when I was there.
Yeah.
Other human beings were showing up to the place that I own, the business that I built to supply, to provide for my family and our staff. Yeah. Yeah. Saying, and at one point, it was me and my son in the gym only. Yep. And we had health officials come in and say, you can't be in this gym. You can't be in your facility that you own. And even if you were in here, Kyle, you and your son have to wear masks.
Like what?
What?
Excuse me.
Wait. It sounds crazy to say. There's people listening right now. Yeah. I can't even
say it with a straight face.
I can't even explain how even if you believe in masks, even if you believe in COVID, all this stuff, you still have to know that's pretty crazy. Yeah. Yeah. That was a huge red flag. And then in schools, they got all these kids masked up. And first of all, they have all these kids home behind a laptop for little 5 and 6-year-olds behind a laptop for things are adding up. Then family members I know, people I trust that are teachers, school administrators saying, Kyle, the school's getting really weird, bro. Things are getting really weird, just telling you. Because you have to remember something. Same with police, same with firefighters, all these, even doctors, saying, even nurses. We're very connected. I'm very connected in the community. No matter how much you dislike me, you have to understand I have been, those of you listening, there's people that dislike me. Yeah, for sure. I've been in the community, and I've been serving my community. I know a lot of people all over the spectrum.
Years before these politicians
but
yes. They were serving the community. Years before.
So people were coming to me like, hey, Kyle, we can't publicly speak about it, so we need to tell you this. So the things I was speaking on, and you guys wonder why I kind of blew up in a way. It's because I had true, real people in the streets working these, actually seeing the real stuff, telling me the truth about what's really going on. So I was that voice to speak out and lift up what really is going on. And they knew I didn't care about the hate that came with it, or the problems that came with it. It was going to come, and I was ready to take that hit in many ways. Yeah. So then with all these things that we're seeing, Katie, and we're still training during this time. We're still showing up. We didn't cower. I still kept my businesses open, as you guys know, and said, bring it. We never did masks. Nope. We respected people that wanted to wear them. Cool.
Optional. Yeah. For sure.
Cool.
Optional.
But this was my spot. This was our spot. Yeah. And we kept training, and we got healthier than ever. We got all of our people got stronger and better, and we are sitting in front of you today as strong as we could ever be because we stayed training. We stayed around people. We kept relationships. We were in the streets. Katie's still we still did our 5Ks. We still did running stuff outside. Yeah. We still had group events. We still had other partners still open up their doors for things like New Year's at noon, which was an indoor fair that we did. And they were we still did it because we knew the truth. Yeah. where I had all these other, I'm talking 99.9% of other business owners and people that I'd really looked up to as mentors and strong men in the community and women in the community that I cowered, like, Kyle, we're not doing events anymore. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, we can't sponsor you anymore because you're saying things that it's trigger. We agree with you, Kyle. Yeah. We agree with you, Kyle, but we care more about our reputation and our name and our business and our money than doing what's right now. So we're not going to kind of join you right now. And that was one of the saddest things that I saw through this entire process. You want to see who the real people are in your life? Run for governor of Maryland, speaking the truth and standing behind it, preaching the name of Jesus. Right. And watch how many people drop off in every kind of walk of life. Baby, you know what I'm talking about. It's every day. I mean, people we thought were family, people we thought were with us for life, and they're just gone. And they have to sit, they cowered away. Yeah. I had people that I stuck up for when they were running for office. And I put my name behind them and gave them money and stood them and gave them. Those people were silent when I said, hey, I'd really like your support. They just didn't ever talk to me. When they had opportunity to help, they gossiped about me and slandered, rather. This is things that I had to deal with running. Yeah.
Now, ma'am, what gave you the certainty back then to stand strong and to say no to what people were doing at the time when everybody was afraid, when everybody was just doing what they're being told to do?
I was all in with Jesus Christ. I was in the Bible every day. I was in the Word. I was in prayer every day. And I said, God, no matter what myself wants to believe, no matter what my emotions and feelings are feeling right now, please let me just know the truth so I can just speak on truth. That's number one. When you go to God, when you go to Jesus, he does answer. Yeah. He does give you the, you know what I'm saying? Whether you have to sit on it for a little while, don't speak out till he truly gives you that answer. But that's number one. Number two, we were in positions to see with our own eyes. I was in the streets every day. Yeah. Yeah. I was around people still. I was calling people that totally was against what I was saying, but I wanted to have conversations with these people that believed. I wanted to understand why they were saying that.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't just talking to the people that believed in me and were just saying stuff because it was on the right side of the thing. So I was calling the left, I was calling the right, I was calling the people that were saying the exact opposite of what I was saying, and I just wanted to really know the truth. Right. Yeah. We live in a society now where people see one post and that's the truth, and hey, I'm gonna get behind this, I'm sharing this. I like to look into things before I do it. I don't want people to come back to me and people be like, oh, that dude lied. If I'm caught in one lie, it ruins my reputation.
Right. Nobody likes a liar. Let's be honest.
I mean, some people don't mind a liar.
Right. And they'll keep but they live a lie themselves, so that's probably why they're cool with it.
Exactly.
They're living a lie.
Exactly, because they're liars themselves.
There it is.
There you go.
So it went back to the experience. I'm sitting in front of, like me or not, I'm standing in front of people with the experience. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Let's be honest. So that's why I'm so confident and still confident. I know I'm doing what's right, and the truth has grown. Like, no matter what, people have seen that. Even with the outcome right now as we speak, and my phone's getting blown up with people going, dude, why do you have 0 votes? We voted for you. I have proof. Blah, blah, blah. People are opening their eyes to the election process. People are opening their eyes to really what this machine we're going against. Yeah. If you are watching right now, listen, I believe that we could win. I really was. I'm a believer. I like to hope for things. I'm a dreamer. I really believe that I would win. But I'm also a realist. I know statistically, as an unaffiliated write-in, I shouldn't win. Yeah. So I'm not like, oh my gosh, fraud. I'm not even claiming fraud to you guys. I'm telling the winner was Wes Moore. We are in a blue state. I don't agree with anything he stands for. But the dude, props to you doing what you had to do to win. Right. I'm not going to do that way. Right. Make sense?
Yeah.
So now I want to jump to something of what a year we've had. I want the viewers to understand, because there's a lot of people that don't understand really what we've been about the last year alone. Yeah. In January, we led something called the Defeat the Mandates DC. Katie, do you remember when we were in front of 17,000 people?
Yes.
How was that? We're going to show video. Our producer, Doug, he's going to put up a video in a little bit, or even right now, that you guys are going to see kind of like little clips of. Defeat the Mandates DC was the first big march we did, and we were a huge part of putting that together, being part of that, and I got the honor to lead the march. Yeah. And Katie's right next to me holding her Kyle Sefcik sign and Katie Lee's sign, and we got the people ready to march for what was right, our family, for the Constitution, for our God-given rights. Yeah. And we did that in January. 17,000 people showed up. Boom, we're on the map with the feds real quick.
Yeah.
That's when they're like, who's this white male MMA fighter running for governor of Maryland showing up with 17,000 people behind him, and people are getting riled up and cheering.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
So then, cool. That was kind of a success. Did I want 100,000, a million people showing up? Yeah, I did. But you know what? For as many people that were before this in 2020 when I was doing protests and rallies, in 2021 when I was doing protests, no one was showing up. It was like 20 women showing up. Dudes, we're getting to that another day. Where were all the dudes? But finally, 2022, 2 years after all this stuff that we've been calling from the rooftops, telling people about, at least we have some kind of successful march. Defeat the mandates, DC.
Yeah.
17,000 people. You guys saw the video. Cool. Then we do the Freedom Convoy. And viewers, be ready for this. Be ready. The truths are coming out.
Yeah.
You want to hear? Because I didn't talk about this a lot. I want to finish this run first. I didn't want to get stuck in all this other stuff.
Right.
Freedom Convoy USA 2022. And we start putting that together. I'm working with my friend Katie out of Florida and a couple other people out of California that are going to be trying. And we're putting these trucks together, and it's building momentum real fast behind the scenes. And we build it, and I don't go public with it until I know it's coming.
Yeah.
I build things on the low because people try to like ruin things from the start, not just politically, in business. Those of you listening right now, if you're going to start a business, if you're going to be in a relationship, keep things on the low. The devil wants to ruin what you have. People are going to try to ruin whatever you have. So build it first so that when you come out with it, you're confident with it. Just like we did with this show. We built it first, had everything ready to go. I wasn't just like one of those people like, oh, we're going to do this, and then it never happens. I never want to be those people. My word's my word.
Right.
So we create the Freedom Convoy 2022 with everything that's going on with Canada. We're like, that's not just so support to them. We got to do something. We can't let all these other countries be standing up. We got to do something in the most legal way we can. We don't want to make this like a violent protest, blah, blah, blah. Let's do something that brings attention to the truth, whether people want to hate on it or not. It brought a lot of attention.
Yeah.
So we build the Freedom Convoy USA 2022. And I make that video in D.C. that addresses the President of the United States. I address the President Biden of the United States, and it gets over 21 million views. I remember before I posted that video, I was calling you, baby, and I was kind of like had probably a shaky voice because I was like, baby, I'm about to post this, remember?
Yeah.
I knew exactly where I was, and I was like, baby, I'm about to post this video, and I just feel like life's going to get a little crazy after this, and it's going to change. And as soon as I posted, before I knew it, it was like Twitter like took it off, and other people were resharing, and then it got like 21 million views on one site. And then you can look at anywhere. Go to YouTube, go to Twitter, go to all these pages, and you'll see hundreds of thousands, millions of views in all these different areas of my message to the president.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you know, I'm already on the radar with the Defeat the Mandates walk and the Defeat the Mandates march. And then I make this video addressing the President of the United States on the National Mall.
Yeah.
Things got crazy because one, there was a convoy coming and did come. We'll get to that in a second. But it's also, this man Kyle is a problem.
Yeah.
He's young.
Yep.
He's a fighter. He's been successful. He's got a good fit. All these things that they're like, dude, how are we gonna like ruin this guy? Yep. Seriously, this is where it got to. Yep. He just had a successful march, and now he's talking to the president boldly, making a thing to the president right now, and people started rallying behind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There were real patriots getting behind.
Yeah.
Trucks are coming. I mean, it happened. So I pull this permit for the National Mall on March 1st of 2022. Mm-hmm. Why did I pull it March 1st, 2022? Because it was the day of the State of the Union address. Right. The State of the Union address made by the President of the United States. I chose that day for a reason. Yeah. And I was the only person in not just the United States, the world, who held this permit for the National Mall where the president's going to be for the State of the Union address. What do you think every federal agency, who do you think they were looking into in every single way? Baby, what started happening to our phones and our laptops and what, to be honest, this isn't conspiracy, this is truthful. What started happening?
It was weird. I felt watched. Cops were showing up. We even had a feeling like the cops were moving into it was just weird. There was this, like, our phones wouldn't work, computers wouldn't work. There were cops everywhere.
Weird
vans outside.
People moving into the spots next to apartments next to
literally
it. It
next
was
to
absolutely insane. And then then they were gone after. It was.
And then they were gone after this whole thing was done.
And people could be like, "Oh, listen. You could take what we say or not. We are underplaying it right now. Katie, you know, because you were one of the few people we could say, like, this is getting
crazy.
absolutely, my businesses are being watched. You know what I'm saying? Katie, how many people did you see just constantly? It just got real weird,
Yeah.
big van. I mean, it was like that.
It was really weird.
So, and then as somebody who pulls permits for the National Mall for all my other nonprofit things, I know how to do it. I've done it. I can't even tell you countless of times. I know how to pull a permit for the National Mall, where it's me with one person that works with the National Park Police.
Yeah.
I sit with them for 30 minutes and I get my permit. This is how it's always been. This took
Wow.
a month, 2 hours a day, talking with 14
Several
different federal
calls,
agencies
yeah.
being interrogated, and they're saying, we know what you're trying to do. And then some people are playing good cop, bad cop. People are like, Kyle, we know you've done this before. Just be honest with us about this. And people are like, we think you're up to. It got absolutely nuts. Where I had to go to the National Mall every day, drive an hour and a half to the National Mall for these meetings, and then do the Zoom meetings. Remember that? I was like recording this stuff so that I'm not getting caught in nothing.
Because it was insane. It was really
and
weird.
people are like, why were you so bold, Kyle? Why were you so? Because I said the truth about everything. I was if they were going to do something to me, people knew it's because this guy is obviously speaking the truth, and that's I was willing to take a hit on it.
Yeah.
So then, March 1st is about to happen. So the night before, we check in. So let's be honest, baby. The viewers, I want you to understand something because I need you to understand more of who I am. Katie will vouch for this too. That week before March 1st, I started prepping my family, my businesses for what was probably going to happen.
Yeah.
And that was truthfully me being arrested or killed. I'm not even trying to be crazy right now. We had serious talks with my family. We got things in order. Like, you guys think I'm crazy or I thought too much. This is literally things that we had to prepare for. I had Katie and Coach AJ start, hey, I need you to take care of the business. This is how you're going to do it. Remember the classes. I'm not going to be here. She was ready to take over my main sport. I had my wife understand what's going on with like our payments and I had her bags packed. She was moving in with my parents. Like, we were all ready to go so that when whatever happened to me, which was most likely going to be the arrested part, because we saw what happened in Canada with their leader, that was going to happen. How were you feeling during that moment, baby?
You just talking about that just makes me upset again. But yeah, it was real. It was just awful because you just wanted a space to speak the truth and you know what, you were there and you sat, and people that actually watched it would have known that none of that was needed, that your intention was never to cause havoc, never, and it was just completely unnecessary. So you feel like the world is against you. You really feel like that pressure of being like, they want to shut you up, they want you in a corner, they want you to just, coerce. It was really bad. It was really awful.
So March 1st rolls around, and I want to. Sorry. The night before, February 28th, because February only has 28 days.
Correct.
I don't believe it was a leap year. So on the 28th, we check into a hotel. One of them, you guys with me that night, and then we were having you leave in the morning and get out of there because I thought DC was gonna get absolutely insane.
Yeah.
We check in. The hotel we're at, I know they had my name. Completely surrounded with all different types of law enforcement, federal, police, DC, metropolitan. And I get out of the car, I go inside, and as I stand in line, the only person in line, there's 2 cops to my left, 2 cops to my right, and one behind me. They weren't even trying to pretend. They weren't like mean mugging, but they weren't like acting normally. They just knew, like, we all knew what they were there for. Right. They weren't trying to hide nothing. They just knew what they were there for.
Yes.
I check into the room, and I talked to my wife on the way in. I said, baby, you have to understand, this is most likely bugged. And if anything, we look out the window. And when we look out the window, baby, of our hotel room, what do you see?
What we saw?
Yeah, on the streets.
There was just cops everywhere. There was just cops everywhere.
It's that simple. Like, there's nothing really else to say. Just cops everywhere at 10 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. at night. It just happens to be
for
on
no apparent reason.
and just sitting there.
Yeah.
And so we're like, if it's not bugged, to at least have some kind of like listening device. But we just kept living our life. We knew the truth. I was practicing my speeches. I was practicing. We had nothing to hide. I was up to no. Listen, I knew I was up. I knew I was doing everything lawfully. and godly. I just knew everything that I was going to do was right. So I wasn't worried if I was going to get in trouble, like arrested
and
or
how
hurt.
many men would have done what you did? I
So-
don't know anyone else.
So I stood on the moral, like, I know I'm doing the right thing no matter what happens.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about this. So I continued. Then we slept, and then we woke up, and then they dipped. I wanted them out of the city, and then we set up for what was going to be what should have been a lot more than defeat the mandates. I went from 17,000 people to defeat the mandates march,
Right.
and I get to the setup, and it's just Fed agencies all over the hills.
All over.
I'd say 21 to 24 different news outlets from different countries, like big ones. I'm talking CNN, Fox. You guys know what I'm talking about, everybody that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then independent news outlets, both ones that were supporting me, but also ones that like were there to just trash me regardless. They were just looking for one thing to take to trash me, which they did. It's the game. You have to understand you sign up for this, you're going to get trashed no matter who you are. There's sometimes I see like Republicans trash Democrats. Like I'm like, that's too far. Like why? Like you obviously took that and like gendered the video to make like at least show real stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like there is that on both sides. So I knew it was coming, especially as an unaffiliated candidate where I started having Republicans hate me too, just because I was going against the establishment.
Right. Yeah.
So I set up, and the feds, they stopped it. But from mainstream media and feds, I experienced for the first time in my life, and it was honestly an honor. And my wife helped me see this too. She's like, Kyle, think about what's that, because I was like, why aren't people showing up? Why are they coming at me? Why is mainstream media making fun? She goes, Kyle, you're here. You are that person now. Like that's what you signed up for. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is a good sign, not a bad sign. If the evil hates me, we're doing something right. You know what I'm saying? So we get to the setup, and only the real ones show up to help me set up. People volunteered, knew what they were getting into, and we set up. And it's funny because so many friends and people that told me they were going to be there, even family, never showed up. They were worried. I got so many, hundreds, if not thousands of messages saying, we're not going to be there today. We're hearing it's pretty bad there. We just don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah,
we don't want
everybody
to.
backed
Right?
up.
They were like saying it's going to be another January 6th. Like that's the kind of thing they were trying to put on it.
They were.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they did everything to stop this. And it worked. I saw the power of the feds, of media, truly.
Yeah.
And I joke about it because one of the news outlets that came to cover me, that was there to just obviously blast me in a bad way, was recording me. And he's like, so Kyle, I'm looking around. There's like, 20 people here. And they're like, what do you feel right now? Like he's like laughing as he says it. And I'm like, well, first of all, there's like 21 or 22 people here. like, you know what I'm saying?
Learn how to count.
Yeah, like learn how to count. And I couldn't believe that. Like I said that as a joke because I knew what this was, and there was over 20 news outlets there waiting for my speech. And I went up there, and you guys can watch this online on the YouTube, where I spoke 30 minutes up there. I still did what I had to do. God told me, you show up there, even though no one else is really going to be. Katie, you were there. Thank you.
Yeah.
My wife, thank you. You were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I stood on that stage and told my truth,
Yeah.
no matter what was coming. And it did make an impact. I know it did. And here's another thing. Baby, didn't we get blasted hard after that? Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, all these, they
goodness.
blasted
Laughing
Kyle
stock.
Sefcik. Go look it up. They just destroyed my name, or at least tried to.
Yeah.
And I had to take that. I had to endure that, especially as somebody who always liked to people please. I grew up like trying to people please everybody. And
You're
I
used to winning.
want everybody to like me, right?
Yeah.
But I chose no more of that. I need
Yeah.
to do what's right regardless of people who like me. So they trashed me, but I'm sitting tight. Do you know why? Because I know there's thousands of trucks making its way. Some of them were trying to get in, as you know, and it was blocked. And they hid that very well as well. But you guys now know the truth, right? People know the truth now. Now it's all blown over. You saw how they blocked stuff. They didn't let the trucks in and stuff. But I also knew we were stationed. We were about to station in Hagerstown, Maryland, with thousands upon thousands of trucks, which you guys all saw that did happen.
Yeah.
And people can argue like, oh, but they never came in. I was there ready. I was on the National Mall daily calling the trucks. Let's do this. I was ready to take I was ready to be the leader on it. I was ready to take the hit. I was ready to go to jail for whatever it needed to happen. I was ready to be that person It was on everybody else to do that. If people want to come in, cool. And some people made their way in a little bit, but then it started getting real weird. You had other politicians now getting involved. Now that they see the brush, you know, you had like Ted Cruz show up to act like he was doing something. Johnson was showing up. People, now that they see that they can make a game out of this and get some publicity. It was, I saw the truth.
Yeah.
We remember who was there from the start.
Yeah.
Right, baby?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You guys saw it firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you guys feel like that just eerie, just craziness there? Like, how did this happen? 17,000 people were this last month.
Yeah.
How'd they stop this? Blocking off roads, had all the feds post up on the hills. They were
Yeah.
doing stuff like this could be another Jan. They stopped it in every way to make people not be there.
Not show
up.
Metro problems that day, everything possible. And I'm not making excuses to say that's not what people show. I'm telling you straight up. The media
Just
and
fear.
feds did a great
Fear.
job. They,
I was
and
gonna
say.
I found out, man, all these people talking about the Constitution and God loving their freedom, and they're afraid to show up because they might get in trouble or gassed or arrested. And this is where you stand for your family. All you people writing online about how your amendments have been broken. This was very frustrating to see as a male who will step up and give his life for what's right. I'm just being very, very honest. And those of you that are triggered or hurt by what I'm saying, or actually are mad at me for what I'm saying, you are that problem. I'm not trying to be mean.
Yeah.
You are that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to stand there basically alone on stage. I had a couple pastors that stood up for me strong, a couple men that came that stood up for me strong. But other than that, it was very few people that showed up.
Meanwhile, on the internet, everybody hating and like showing all their strength behind a screen and a computer, saying Kyle this, Kyle that, but none of them showed
None of
up.
them showed up. And here's another
Face to
thing,
face.
Katie. Isn't it crazy how people talk so much trash online as we ran for this governor? And when
Keyboard
we see them
warriors.
when you see them in person,
Yeah. Totally.
they don't
No,
say
they-
nothing. They turn and walk the other way.
Totally
and you
different.
and when
Or
we,
they're worse. They pretend to be friendly with you.
Yes.
Mm.
Right. And then behind the little keyboard warriors there,
Unreal.
they'll trash your name as much as they can, and then see you face to face, and it's a different story. But that's just fake people in life. They can't back up what they say or show up. And they say if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So pretty much that they fall for it. And they aren't able to stand up and fight for what they really believe and what they think, and even for their families. God, if they have children, like, what are your children watching you do?
Yeah.
They're seeing
Oh.
you back down and cower down to these people, and you just have to think of them too. Set an example for them. Teach your kids to grow up to fight for what they
Wow.
believe and fight
Wow.
for what's right. And here you are, just
Complaining.
Yeah.
Complaining.
Complaining.
Stop complaining and do something.
right on a
It's,
lot.
it goes all back to kind of our background in health, where we hear so many people complain,
Right.
and then when it comes to eat right and work out,
Right.
it's like, stop complaining if you won't even do that.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It's too hard.
It's frustrating, right? But if it was easy, everybody would walk around doing it.
Yeah.
And we know nothing good comes out of anything easy. If it's easy, you're probably not gaining anything from it. It's usually the hard things in life that bring a lot of good things after.
Absolutely.
It's the
Yeah.
struggle.
Ah.
If it's easy,
Yeah,
You're
it's
probably
worth
not
a lot,
gaining
costs a
from it.
lot.
And it reminds me exactly of what like faith is in
Yeah,
our Lord Jesus.
100%.
Like people think, oh, I'm saved, I become a Christian, life's easier, God's gonna give me. Are you kidding me? A Christian in this world? You're picking the hardest life there
Right.
is. It's the truth. It's the real life.
it is.
But it goes with that. You know what I'm saying?
100%. It's
So-
not easy to preach his word when a lot
Yeah.
of people
Ah.
are trying to shut you down. And even me, now that I'm more openly speaking about my faith, it's changed a lot of just feedback you get from people, and people that might stop following you online and stuff. But then I just look at the bigger picture and I'm like, actually, that's probably better, because
Ah.
I don't
Wow.
want people following me for the wrong reasons, thinking that I'm somebody that I'm not. Oh, she's not a follower of Christ, so we
Wow.
like her. But now it's like you see people that give you feedback and stuff, and they're like, oh, I didn't know you were a Bible thumper, or oh, I didn't know you were one of those. And I'm like, one of those? Like,
wow.
You know what I mean? Like, I should be free to practice whatever religion I want and openly talk about it. And if you don't agree with it, that's perfectly fine. I'm not dragging you to my worship nights. I'm not holding a gun to your head telling you, let's go read the Bible. Like, it's not that serious. You're free to worship whatever God you want, as long as you have some moral compass in your life that's guiding you to do the right thing. I don't care in what form that is. You want to worship some Buddha, cool. As long as Buddha's telling you to treat people right, to do the right things in life, to take care of yourself, like, that's fine. I don't care. I'm not going to say you have to follow what I'm doing, but you also have to know you need a moral compass in some way. whatever avenue you want to take to make sure you're doing the right thing in life, take that avenue. But you can't attack somebody, you know, that might not agree with the things that you're saying. So I've lost, you know, maybe followers, people that looked up to me might not look up to me anymore, but that's fine, because in the long run, in the end, what I want is the people that are on the same page as me and do.
And probably you'll
believe the
see that
things that I believe.
a lot of those people will come back later.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Depending on the depth of the
They'll be
relationship.
back the deeper, the more the world continues to crumble and play exactly what the Bible says. More and more people, it's happening. That's
There's
why more
no
and more,
way out without
Yeah.
Jesus, so
There's-
they
there-
will
there's just-
remember.
This is what's happening right now. You're either falling farther away from Christ or you're getting closer to Christ.
Right.
Because you were just mentioning people that do have a good moral compass because they are in other religions
Right.
at least.
Which is
But
fine.
Christianity is not a religion. It's the truth. I mean, it's just what it is.
Yeah.
Eventually, these
the
people
truth, the
will
way, and the
either
life.
find the
Yeah.
truth and be like, dang, the Bible is
Yeah.
true. You know, like, I get it now, blah, blah. They will come to it, or they're going to have to be on the other end of that. But, so I want to get finished real fast. So now the Freedom Convoy happened, blah, blah, blah. Cool. It, in a way, God used that probably for people to truly see what I was about. I stood where I was, and then all of a sudden you see the Republican Party getting mad at me in Maryland because I'm taking away votes,
From the
if not crazy attention. Like, dude, why are we following this establishment, this guy? When Kyle's over here leading like exactly everything we're talking about.
right.
And then I had Republicans literally making like fake things to like trash me. Like I had that. Like people are like, dude, I see all these Democrats talking crap about. What are you talking about? Those aren't there's Republicans. The people that say they stand for all this stuff,
Yeah.
they're hitting me up too, talking trash.
Yeah.
And then here's the thing: I made bigger connections with. It was funny because all of a sudden I'm big with the Freedom Convoy and the Feed Mandate and all these what are they called, influencers that sit behind their thing and get millions of followers
Right.
are saying all these things like, yeah, we got cowboy and everything they stand for. And I invite them to these things and they go, okay, how much you paying me?
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, that happened.
What? Wait, what?
That happened.
What do you mean how much I'm paying you? Like you're posting all this stuff. Aren't you about this? Aren't you ready like to get,
Yeah.
go to
to work, yeah.
war about this? What are you talking about? Oh no, we need this taken care of, da-da-da, and you can send the check to blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna have you talk to I'm not talking to that person no more. And I started seeing that these influencers are playing the same damn game. They get it. They all play the game. The establishment is not just the government officials running. It's not just the people campaigning. It's the media in all ways.
Always, yeah.
People are making a lot of money, a lot of fame, getting popular, and they just sit back and not have to worry.
It's a machine.
Yeah.
I'm out there putting my body and life on the line. So are you.
Yeah.
And you are, because you're my wife and you have to live with this, not knowing, hey, is Kyle going to be sent away today? Is he going to be shot today? This is real stuff.
It was.
Like, let's be honest here, you guys.
Yeah.
I'm a huge threat. We're a huge threat. We're people that believe in Jesus, that are fighting for real, not afraid of anything. I fear nothing. I fear God. That's it.
Yes.
There's no human being that I feel is above me. I will listen to the leadership. And I even gave Biden a chance when he won. When he won, I was like, all right, he's the elected person. Whether you want to say he's voted or not, I'm going to give him a shot. Obviously, that hasn't played out. He's proven that it's not there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to support that.
Yeah.
So then the election, like I told you, it wasn't just Democrats hating on me. It was Republicans. And it was people pretending, to be my friend, and people that I never thought would be my friend or want to support me come through. There was people. Listen, one of the big takeaways from this is, in life, I truly want to be surrounded by people I know love me and know are with me when things get down. As a man especially, I want to be with the people that I know when thing pops off, who's around me. And that's now what I know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The meetings I had with certain people, certain organizations, people that I know, they're out there. Thank you, God. I know they're out there. They haven't showed their face yet. They're not ready for that. They're waiting for bigger, but they're out there. Mm-hmm. And then the people that I've had partnerships in the past and friendships and even family, I saw their true colors. I saw their true colors. And
Excuse me.
I love them, but I'm not going to put myself around them or associate. It's just what it is. You have to be doing what's right in this world. And that's one of the things is like, it was sad to see truly how majority of people really aren't about it.
Yeah.
I had love and support, and I thank you for those of you that did, but it was very few.
Oh yeah.
Everybody else kept playing the establishment. Like, listen, Kyle, I'm with you 100%, but the game is Republican and Democrat. So instead of having integrity and voting for you, regardless if you're going to win or lose, what's right, I'm still going to play the system and bet that maybe the Republican has a better chance. So I'm going to vote Republican, even though I don't like this guy. I've still, you know what I'm saying? That's literally what happened with like a majority of people. Kyle, you're right and you're unaffiliated. I truly believe you're the leader we need, but what?
Yeah.
I won't put a sign.
And
on
I will
my
never
wall.
forget these people. Like seriously, this is what like we're building something. People are like, oh Kyle, like oh now blah blah blah. Listen, I'm sitting tight. We're sitting tight. I'm gonna pray about it.
Yep.
I'm taking the loss just like I did with sports and fighting and other things and business and blah blah blah. I sit back, I see what I learned and assess, and then now we're gonna see where we go from here.
Yeah.
If you think seeds weren't planted, oh man, you're gonna be watching this podcast in years from now and seeing that the things we've been doing, oh, they are planted and God will water them.
Yes.
And the more and more people are going to start waking up.
Oh,
And man,
yeah.
Kyle said that in 2020, just like they are now. Like Kyle was talking about this in 2020. Katie and Kyle were in the gym talking about this, putting videos out there saying, guys, COVID is not what you think it is. Masks don't work. Hey, if you want to get the vaccine, cool, but we wouldn't recommend it. Like people are starting to see like the things, at least we spoke on truth. And that's what we knew. We would speak on truth. And in the long run, people would see, just like with this election. In the long run, whether it's years from now or tomorrow, people are going to be like, dude, he was right.
Yeah.
I kind of want to be following somebody who's right.
Yeah.
Especially as the world does continue to crumble and get worse. If you're watching, listen, I'm optimistic and I love life, man. I have the best life in the world, and I'm thankful for the people I have. But let's not act like things are going to get just better.
Right.
No matter who your president is,
Yeah.
Republican, Democrat, no matter who's in Congress, you have to understand that whole process, that whole game is still going to devour itself. It's still going to make things worse in life. And we're just looking at it as spoiled little Americans here. Do you know it's popping off in the rest of the world and what's been happening over the world? We've been in our country 243 years spoiled, and people are starting to get all restless because things are starting to happen. Dude.
Yeah.
And here's another key thing, and this is going to probably be, the next thing I'm going to say is probably going to get a lot of attention. I'm going to say this. This is seriously, and people told me not to say this. There was people that advised me not to say this, and I'm going to say it. People are claiming fraud in the 2020 elections with Trump and Biden. Right? We say 81 million votes, what the heck? Oh, Trump won. Oh, no, Biden. Here's the thing. To those of you that are truly saying it was fraud, to the leaders, to the people that are governors and congressmen and senate and all this other stuff, to you guys that are saying it was fraud and you truly believe that, then why aren't we at war? Then why aren't we at war within our own country? Not going through the same legal system that screwed all this up, if that's what you're claiming. Why are you trying to go to the law and like the government's going to fix it? The corrupt government's going to fix what's corrupt? Are you kidding me? No matter what side you are on. If that's truly what happened, you Americans listening right now, people in leadership that are saying we got to keep fighting because it was fraud in the election and blah, blah. If that's the truth, then why? That is complete tyranny. That is complete case for war. I am not excited. I am not saying let's go to I'm just saying why would that be if that was truly the case? It's either one, we have weak leaders that aren't ready to stand up and fight for our country like it used to be 200 years ago, or it wasn't fraud. It's one or the other. There is no middle. It's either it was fraud or it wasn't. If it was fraud, then why aren't we fighting for our country? If they truly took over, the small elite, messed up people really are doing this, then why aren't we overthrowing our government? I just want to make that very, people are afraid to say that. People won't say that. People won't say it because they fear all these men. They fear it. And women feel like they don't have enough voice to stand up. But I want to make this very, very truthful comment about women. You women were the ones showing up at the protests and rallies because you mama bears knew something was up. Something's not up with the COVID. Something's not right with this. The lockdowns, the masks on kids, the closings of schools. Too much was happening. Mothers knew.
Yeah.
And then they're watching their husbands or their boyfriends or the fathers that aren't even in the freaking picture.
Yeah.
Not stepping up for what's right. They're complaining. Oh, don't get me wrong.
Social construct.
You know what I'm saying?
Man.
While they're having beers with their boys watching some sports.
Yeah.
And, knowing all the names of all these guys and the stats and blah, blah, and then saying, our country's corrupt. Why they just sit there and do nothing? Why I'm inviting as many people as possible to get, development. Nah, they don't care, man. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care. There's no men out there no more. There's a few.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about. I don't need to. There ain't no men out there no more.
Yeah. There.
You see it with how physically. I mean, I got Katie Lee here, you guys. Every man that comes into our gym, they used to be the best athletes. They still are in shape. They lift, and Katie just whoops their butt. I'm just being straight up. We almost made a video and released it about how Katie Lee could beat up not just the lieutenant governors, but the governors of Maryland, like, Wes Moore, Dan Cox. I was like, yo, let's do something for charity and challenge these guys and watch Katie Lee whoop the crap out of the man that you chose to lead your state.
The society today is built to see that that's barbaric.
Right.
The strength of a man.
No. That's how you solve problems.
That's not.
I mean,
let's get behind our computers. Let's make a little committee and talk about politics. But let's have no real skill in the world. Let's have Let's not be man, right?
Exactly. And I'm not about like, I'll fight a guy. I don't
Yeah.
have a problem. Like, it's not a
It's
girl
not even the
kind
fun.
type of thing. Guys shouldn't obviously hit women. We know
Right.
that.
But it's a social construct, yeah.
If I agree and you agree, then
Yeah, let's settle this. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not going against my will.
Like, that's one of the best things I love. Like, Katie is not. We'll get to more about her in a second, but she's not just somebody who's proven it professionally in bodybuilding and won all types of stuff.
Oh,
But when she came to
Katie's
MMA and her work
crazy.
ethic and like her skills and just now she's literally the best person I can possibly have at my gym and partnered at my gym in teaching and all this because she sets the example. She shows up on time. She works
Always
hard.
there.
Her as a
Always
female,
there.
look at what she looks like. She obviously knows what the heck she's doing when it comes to health and fitness, which was funny because we had all these other health and fitness experts telling us what we need to put in our body and wear on our face, and we're like, no,
People
I'm not
looking
listening.
yellow.
Yeah, they're like yellow, like
They're
white.
like, don't
pasty.
go to the gym. I'm
Yeah,
like,
well, like it's insane.
I was like,
So
what?
Sit
we're
at
get-
home, be
but
fat.
Katie,
Fat, yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Looking
Like-
kind of greasy.
Like
It
people
was
watching right now,
awful.
most of the reason your man doesn't come train is because there's people like her that are gonna humiliate him and realize he's either gonna check his ego and train like we have at our
Right.
people. We have
Yeah.
awesome people that are like, damn, I need to fix this,
Yes.
and they're ready to prepare self-defense wise for their family and be in shape for their family and health for the man. Does it change? You know what I'm saying? Why did we get so far from that? When did it come from take every pill possible to get instead of being in the sun, working out, praising God, now it take pop as many pills, go watch this crap, go sit
this
there,
vaccine,
take
do
this
this.
vaccine, do
Take
this,
this-
take this.
Take this booster and the booster of the booster of the booster of the booster
You're like, wait,
until you're twitching in the face.
you know?
So
Jeez.
I'm just saying, where are you?
Make
Where
men
are you?
great
And you're listen. All the insecure ones are gonna sit back and just trash me on these comments. You know it. Listen,
Oh, yeah.
if you hear men trashing me right now, ask them one. Why won't they say it to my face? They know where to find. I'm easy to find. Show up. We can hit. You know what I'm saying? And two, why are they trashing me? I'm
Yeah.
telling the truth. You guys know it's the truth.
Yeah. If anything, they should ask
does that
you
tell
how
you
you're
about-
doing it. Like, yo, bro, like you're an awesome masculine figure. Like, how do you do it? Like, and that's what I never understood about people is they'll look at somebody and they'll kind of like idolize them in a way or like have things that they want. But instead of asking them how they did it, they'll just start hating on them.
Yeah,
Oh,
automatically.
well, screw that. I don't want to be like that. It's like, you don't want to be like that because you probably can't. You know, a lot of people are like,
Wow.
oh, Katie, I don't ever want to look like you. It's like, I mean, yeah, I understand. You probably don't, but you probably couldn't.
You could
Damn.
never.
Because, you know,
could
and that's the
never.
thing I never understood because you're like, I look at somebody and if they have something that I idolize or I want, I want to ask them how they did it. How'd you do
Humility,
it? How'd you
right?
get there?
Knowing
You know,
your
what
strengths,
did
yeah.
you do differently? What do I have to do? What do,
Wow.
you know? And I'll tell you how I did it.
Yes.
I'm human. I'm made out of the same material you are. It just boils down to, I always tell my clients and everybody too, I'm like, they're like, how fast can I lose weight? Or how fast can I lose 10 pounds? And I'm like, how hard are you willing to work? That's the only question that I need to consider. And same with him. Like, ask him how he did it. I've trained on the mats for freaking 20 years. I freaking go to the gym 5-6 times a week. I freaking pray in the morning. I pray at night. Like, ask him how he did it. And trust me, if you do all of the
Wow,
things that he
Katie.
names, I
it
guarantee
works.
you'll get there.
And a testament to
Wow.
Katie real fast, like she just said, I've been a pro athlete. I got my own gyms. I've done health festivals. I've been in shit. I still, when we and her got closer and closer and closer, especially during lockdowns,
Yeah.
I asked her so many questions. I wasn't afraid. I didn't feel superior. I said, yo, listen, you obviously know what you're doing here. Like, blah, blah. And I took my body and skills to a new level because I asked her what to do.
Right.
In business, when I see people say, when I opened MMA in sport, I went to people that knew were successful and said, listen, tell me now. And they said, these are the good and the bads. And they were very open about it. And I remember that. And I still ask
good.
people like, hey, how are you going there? Or, hey, listen, I'm not afraid to say these
Right,
things.
'cause you're humble.
It's okay.
You're humble
It's
enough to
okay. Stop trying to prove things to the world
Yeah.
and just put an ego inside. We actually have that on our door. Put egos and excuses aside and go and do something.
Yeah.
Now, Katie, and just for the viewers today, usually we do our podcast like 30 to 45 minutes, but I said this one's going to be special today. We got to do it a little longer. I need as much. We have you here. We got to
Right.
get this stuff out, and I know people want to hear this, and we'll take
Yeah.
clips and put them elsewhere, blah, blah, blah. But I
Yeah.
love talking with you guys. This is how we talk anyways, right?
Yeah.
So, Katie, there's a couple things I want to ask you, but one of them is you got sick in 2021
July.
with,
2021.
what was it called?
Inflammatory bowel disease. So it's ulcerative colitis is the technical medical diagnosis.
I first want to say this. She didn't know she's such a hard-working person that she didn't like. She was like, man, I got something wrong with me. But she kept training because she had a Muay Thai fight.
The next.
A Muay Thai fight,
That
and
was-
she fought. And the next day, literally, she had to go to the hospital. It wasn't because of the Muay Thai fight. They said you fought literally as you were dying. You were dying. And
That's rough.
when the EMS that got her and drove her to the hospital said 30 minutes later, Katie, you would have been dead. And this isn't a joke. This is like, now we're going to get serious for a second.
Yeah.
Katie was losing weight fast. And I'm like, as her instructor, and tell everybody, I told you to calm down. I
Yeah.
said, Katie, you need to relax. We don't have to do this fight, blah, blah, blah. But you're
Yeah.
so strong-willed. You just thought like maybe it was part of training, like the weight loss.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you've done other things, but it was so painful. And
Yeah.
you were like, dude, I'm still going to do this for our team, blah, 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 blah. I didn't encourage it, but she wanted to do it, and I had her back on it.
Yeah.
The EMS said 30 minutes later, if we didn't get to her or tell her to get to the hospital, she'd be dead. It was that crazy. Katie, how much weight did you lose in like a month?
I went from 165 down to about 110 in right under a month. So 4 weeks, losing
What
almost 50
the
pounds. It
in
was
the world?
basically a
50
What
pounds.
the heck?
transformation.
This wasn't her trying to cut up for a match
No,
or cut up for a
no.
bodybuilding. This was, she was trying to keep the weight on and this
I was
happened.
trying to. I just couldn't.
We knew something was wrong, but she didn't want to get it figured out till after she wanted to represent this. But that's just what she is. This is why she is who she is. And then she's in the hospital during COVID time. I couldn't even come visit her because they weren't allowing people to come visit her
Yeah.
during COVID time. See, people in the hospitals couldn't be visited. Their family. What if she died? And her family couldn't see her. Like, this is how crazy it was. But she was in there.
Yeah.
For a long time. This wasn't a day thing. Weeks,
Yeah.
months. She wasn't in the gym. I lost my best training partner. I'm just like, I was talking to you about it. I was like, man, I don't
Yeah.
know what to do. Like, I can't visit. I have to make up for it. Like, what's going on? I'm worried about her health.
Yeah.
So there, you once again prove why you're Katie Lee. What is going on through your head as you literally could have been like, I'm out. I'm just going to take this loss and just, I'll see you now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? What was going, how did you feel physically and emotionally and spiritually? Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, physically, I felt like death. Never experienced that much pain in my life, physical pain. I described it to people as like if you were trying to like digest like barbed wire, or like if you were trying to like swallow like a cactus or something, like that's what it would feel like in your stomach. But I wasn't eating food because I was unable to eat food, had no appetite, nauseous, bleeding from internally bleeding and stuff like that. So a lot of loss of blood, became anemic because of it. But I kept becoming closer to God in this process because as you're alone in the hospital by yourself, you don't really have anything but time to sit there and think about everything and reflect and, what can I do to just, and the doctors really weren't like, oh, this is what you have. Like they didn't know off the bat. I took weeks and tests and tests and tests to figure it out. To even get a diagnosis to then start treating it because they can't treat something if they don't even know what you have. So after I got transferred from one hospital to, thank God, Johns Hopkins, they finally figured it out. So just becoming a lot closer with God, asking him, why is this happening? Why are you doing this to me? What did I do wrong? I treat people right. I don't understand. But he's basically just using you as an example to other people. A lot of people can't endure the types of things that we endure. As you know, you've been through a lot of pain and through all this process that we've gone through with the election and everything. When they say God gives his hardest battles to his strongest warriors, that's correct. He picks people that are able to endure those types of things, the pain, the stress, the frustration, and all. And I think maybe bodybuilding prepared me for a little bit of this because we're just so used to suffering. We're always hungry. We're always tired. We're always pushing through workouts when we have no energy. You know, it doesn't really matter. Your goals don't really care. So I think bodybuilding maybe prepared me for some of this, but the amount of pain was it was off the charts. It was just crazy amount of pain. So emotionally, it was probably difficult. I spent a lot of nights crying by myself in the hospital. Just again, out of pain, pure out of pain. And then two, just why, why is this happening to me? I don't understand. Like, I do good in the world. Like, you just don't really know at that moment in time. But after everything unfolds and you find the end result, it was just his way of using me as a tool, to show people, you can go through these types of things physically and mentally, and you can come out on the other side, as long as you keep your faith during that time. A lot of praying, like a lot of desperate prayers, like basically crying, crying out to him. I'm surprised the nurses didn't come in like, lady, like, are you okay? Like, insane asylums like down the hall. But a lot of desperation prayers and stuff like that. So I knew that it would come back, everything I lost, because again, I lost body fat, lost muscle. Like I couldn't shower.
Skin and bones,
My mom was, holding me up in the bathroom, washing my butt. You know what I mean? Like it was that bad. So I thank her a lot for coming to at least wash me and bathe me every couple days. They allowed that to happen, thank God.
It's like the ultimate breakdown of somebody, because it's like Katie is like the most physically and mentally strongest person in all ways. I've seen it. It's incredible. And anybody who knows her knows this. To go from that to you're dying and there's nothing you can do about it when you're usually in control. You're usually in control. And now you have no control. And think about you guys listening that are like stronger in shape. Imagine that just going goodbye. Years and years of building muscle, especially as a bodybuilder. What that can do to you, not just physically that feel, but mentally that could just I mean, that's literally ruined your life.
Depression beyond.
People never come back from that.
It was unbelievable.
And the fact that, oh crap, she could die at any second.
Yeah, I thought so.
They don't even know what she has. They had experts come. Remember, you kept telling. There's expert. Eventually, you got an expert to finally say, "Listen, this is."
There were nights I thought it was it. There were definitely nights I was like, "This is it for me. Like, I'm gonna go. My mom's gonna come find me in the bed. The nurse will find me. Like, that's just how excruciating the pain was. You're throwing up at the same time. You're trying to go to the bathroom, but nothing's coming out because you're not eating, and it's like it's this battle, and you're just like. At a certain point, you're like, I'm okay with dying right now. One, because I know where I'm going when I do die. There's a wonderful eternity waiting for me. But you do think about your family, too, because you're like, I don't want mom to walk in here tomorrow morning and see me in the bed dead. Like, what kind of thing would that put her through? She would lose it.
Wow.
So I'm like, all right, just try to keep strong, keep fighting, keep praying, keep doing this and that. So eventually, weeks and weeks and weeks later, they started, okay, we're going to do these infusion treatments. It's actually relatively new. Probably in the last 5 years they came out with these treatments. Usually to be surgery for people that have what I have. But I'm like, no, I don't want surgery. That's crazy. I'll be out for even longer. My recovery will be twice as long. So I think the timing worked out, at least with the treatments to start. But it took them a while to work. Like they said 10 weeks. So once you start the treatment, 10 weeks after that is when you may start experiencing some relief, from your symptoms and stuff. So you're like,
she was out for months. You were out for months. It seemed like years for us.
And that's what it took for you, 10 weeks?
Yeah. Well, I started feeling some relief at around 12 weeks. But the doctor was like, your case was so extreme. Like, because I was symptomatic for 3-4 weeks before I even went to the hospital.
She had it for months.
I was just pushing through it. I'm like, maybe it'll go away. I started researching some things, maybe a detox would work and all this and that. But what I have, it's a chronic disease. The doctors don't know what caused it, so I can't say, maybe it was bodybuilding, maybe it was this and that. But when you start putting the pieces together yourself, you realize like it was probably just my body quitting out on me, basically, because I've destroyed it for the last 13 years with dieting and competing and depletion and all that type of stuff. And then I transferred to fighting, which is even more physically kind of demanding. And so I'm like, maybe it was just also my way of chilling out because, as you know, I'm an athlete.
Remember I was saying that. I was like, I think this is God telling you to stop.
I wouldn't have stopped training as much as I was.
I couldn't. She was dying, and I couldn't keep her from training. Like I'm not even exaggerating. It was that crazy. Like I'm like, you gotta stop. And she's like, no, I gotta. Anyway, so then she finally gets back in the rhythm of things. Yeah. And within like a month or two after that, she's back to 165, and she signs up for a fight for December, a grappling tournament. I said, what? I said, I'm dreaming right. This isn't. I said, Katie, what do you? She messages me or something. It was in class. She goes, yeah, I'm competing and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I said, no, you're not. So yeah, I am. And then she goes and wins, does her thing. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Look at her today. This should have never had. She should still be. Most people, 99.999% of people would still be like complaining in their bed, blah blah. I'll never be the same, blah blah blah. She, and now look at her. She's better than ever physically. And here's the thing. You said you learned a lot of things in that process and found God more cool. But how much more are you able now to testify to other people? Like, listen, calm down in this area. Hey, you're feeling this. You need to chill there. Hey, eat this. This is where I'm going to mistake there. Hey, listen, you're training this way. I need you. You are it's made you that much more credible, even though you were already at the top of credible. Now there's just nobody that can even compare to you. I really feel that way.
Yeah.
From her experience in bodybuilding and physical health and mental health and the things she's in school for and now fighting and her level, skill level, the roof, there's no roof.
Wow. Yeah.
You guys keep an eye on Katie Lee because we have the best to come. You know what I'm saying? We do. We know that.
Yeah.
And she's only getting smarter and understanding more. And she's one of those people that, like she said, she's staying humble and keeping her ego pride aside and saying, I need to just take these and I'm going to train. And now she's training better and smarter. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And you probably feel better too, right?
Yeah,
and God's obviously I see it, but it's for your personal life, and even personal life alone. She's just being blessed in so many ways because she's staying true to God and she's speaking more about Jesus. And like you said, you post stuff now so much more, especially during that process, like thank you, God, thank you, Jesus, where you never did that before.
No.
And now she's doing that. She's like, yeah, you know what? I got people dropping off, but you know what? I'm also bringing the right people on.
Right. Which is completely fine with
And I wanted to say this too because you, obviously, I've had to deal with more hate than ever the last couple of years. And as a fighter before that and business owner, of course, people, blah, blah. But you more than ever as a woman in bodybuilding and fighting and being successful. And you have always gotten just trolls and hate, not just in your messages, just publicly all over the place.
Of course.
So when it happened with the elections, you just didn't even care. You're like, I've been about this life. Like this, people say the most, especially as a woman that, you know, these guys and women hate you.
Yes.
And here's the thing about Katie that I love. Nothing. Just kidding. Here's the thing about Katie that I love. She's got this, you know, awesome. She is the most girly girl there is.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like,
She can
man, the sweetest thing in the world. And here's the key thing. One reason I have her on our show and why I talk good. She laughs at all my jokes.
Great.
It's literally one of the reasons she's, you know, part of my life. She laughs at my smart move because I know when I make jokes in class,
Oh my God.
nobody laughs. I know I can go to Katie.
Soft and
She'll
sweet.
give me one.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why you don't judge a book by its cover, guys.
So let's talk about a couple more things and then we'll end this. You know, our producer back there is falling asleep. Just kidding. No, Doug would be here all day with us. Right, Doug?
1 hour.
Oh, we're at 1 hour. So listen, we got one more to go. Just kidding. So you wanted me to bring up kind of like the petition process a little bit?
Exactly. How was it? Because when the two of you went through the process and you would say, hey, we did the same thing as other people did it, and we could not have the same benefits. We got a lot of people online, of course, bashing, saying, hey, you guys didn't get the 10,000 signatures. So I want you to talk a little bit about that, how you went through that, and, you know, especially with the...
So
just talk about it.
Yeah,
please.
one, I was gonna be an independent. I was gonna you voters in Maryland know there's over 1 million of you that are actually registered independents. How does this make you feel? The Board of Elections took independent party. There is no party for independent party anymore. I couldn't run as independent. All of a sudden, I want to run to be an independent party, and they stripped the independent party away. So to be another party, create another party, you have to get this crazy 10,000 signatures from voters in Maryland on the petition that you guys have seen, which makes no sense. It's meant for it to fail. They crossed, if it, out of the 5 different sections, out of the 5 different names that could be on there, you have to put everything but your social security number. So most people are like, Kyle, I can't be putting all this information. That's number one. Yeah. Then if anything doesn't align that they say when they're going through it, they cross it off. And if they cross off, if you don't put your middle name, if you put A instead of Ann, your middle name's ANN, and you put like A, they'll be like, that's not exact. So they can cross that off. And if they cross that off, they can cross the whole page off. So my petitions weren't even counted. I actually sent some in to be like tested. They weren't even counted. And I was just seeing it firsthand. What was I going to do? Go make a huge and whine. I didn't even want to be that person. I wanted to share all this stuff at the end when I went through the whole process. It was a pain in the butt, and people wonder why. Listen, you need a lot. I talked to the one person to ever get like a crazy amount of signatures, and he said, dude, I had to have $50,000. I had to have a team. I had to have a law team. We had to go to court. It's a process that is going to take years, and I had to learn that. So now, at least now I know. But it's designed for people like us not to be on the ballot. Why? As the only other candidates for governor and lieutenant governor, we were the only other candidate. And we weren't allowed to be on the ballot. They could put the bubble, the words right in a line, but they couldn't put the only other person trying to serve their community, doing what's right on that ballot. Why do you think that? Why do you think that? This isn't something like, because why do I have to get 10,000 signatures?
Yeah.
Why do I have to do this stuff? I did everything else, plus I have to get 10,000 signatures to be on a ballot because I won't be part of the establishment and play the game.
When you're not soliciting for money.
When I've never solicited for money.
Right.
Look at our campaign finances.
Yeah.
I'm not standing next to people for endorsements
Just
and being
trying to do
fake.
the right thing.
I'm trying to do the right thing as everybody wants to see.
Yeah.
And I wasn't on the ballot. I was a write-in, as people know that are watching this and they're like, hey, Kyle, yeah, we wrote your name in. And then right now they're going to look at the results 2 days later and it still says 0. What's going on, guys? You can't tell me something's not off dramatically about this. Now you guys know as somebody who did this. I went in this, and if everything was perfect, I'd say, hey, guys, this is the process, and everything was perfect. They did it right. I trust 100% what they're doing. But they were finding reasons to find me in the beginning. Remember that? I didn't put my name and like treasurer, blah, 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 at the end of an email, and they finded me just $250 just for that. $250 because at the end of an email, I didn't put Kyle Sefcik for governor, treasurer, blah, 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 to some just personal person.
Right, admin
They
guy,
find any way to mess with you. They weren't doing calls with me. Board of Elections weren't doing calls with me when I was asking, can I come in? No, you can't come in because it's COVID time. It was just like made to like keep me out.
Yeah.
So sad.
So that was just the petition process. So I knew in the election process, it wasn't, stuff's going to be messed up. Like, yeah, they'll put some numbers in there eventually for the write-ins. They'll move up like the other categories they have. They'll move some numbers in there. Prepare to do that. Otherwise, it will go viral that Kyle Sefcik got 0 votes when he has all this attention and all these people that voted for him. Yeah. It's actually starting to spiral as we're talking right now. This is the morning after people are seeing.
Yep. Yeah. How can you not count those votes? I don't understand.
So we'll see. People are upset. But here's the thing. I'm not saying, I'm just saying Westmore won. He is now, Maryland is completely blue. Like, understand that. Maryland's going to get even crazier. Don't say like, oh, no, it will get crazier. Faster than other states, okay? But he won, fair and square. Props to him for doing what he had to do. I don't agree with how they're doing the process. I don't agree with the people he connects with like Hillary Clinton and Biden. I just see the bigger play here. And like I said, they will be setting him up for president one day. People are like, dude, Kyle called that 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I've seen the game. I know what it is. I'm telling you guys from experience. There's still a lot of things I don't share because I don't want to make this thing so long. We will talk about other things. But there's a lot of things I know now that I'm going to use to better our lives and other people's. I'm still going to be that fight. This doesn't stop. We're going to sit back, assess what happened after this, and what's our next move. God, what do you want next with this? I've learned my lessons, and man, I have seen it. My eyes are open more than ever.
Yeah.
Thank you for the lessons we have learned, Lord God. Thank you for them. Even when it got dark and it's tough, and even right now it's tough to see 0 right there knowing the truth, and to see how many Republicans still voted Republican when they knew they were behind me.
Yeah.
And there's other things that happen along the process that I'll share later, but I just don't want to gossip because gossip's true talk, but it's talking negative about people, and I just don't want to talk about like the Republican, and I just don't want to be that person right now.
Yeah.
Makes sense? When it puts lives on the line, then I'll speak up about it. But we've stood our course. We stayed morally. We stayed in God. We preached we told people the truth about Jesus.
Yeah.
Right? Like we know we used our platform for what it needed to be.
Yeah.
We have other great things that have happened.
Absolutely.
We teamed up with Lever Dreams for this kind of show. This isn't like our plan was let's have a show out of this and become popular. This is like we need to continue to use this to get our truth out there. Because people need to know. And now you guys know that are following. You need to just subscribe. We need you part of this. We're not asking for your money, blah, 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 blah. We're saying just keep listening in because you guys are going to hear truths on things that are truly might even save your family's lives, finances, all this stuff in the future.
Yeah.
I'm that person that's in it now, you guys. I'm not these other hosts that you listen to doing these podcasts and talking about it, but they don't show up to nothing. And they'll talk about politics, which they haven't been a part of.
Right.
I'm 100% in. Ran for governor of Maryland. Katie Lee, lieutenant governor of Maryland. First lady of Maryland. Where do we go next from here? So
let's pray on it.
Yeah, let's pray on it. So once again, you guys listen, we're going to have Katie back on the show. We just talked politics today because this is the first thing, but we have so much more to talk about because we didn't even brush the surface on the things that you're doing and what you're capable of and how it is, right?
Katie, you coming back?
Yes, there's been a people want to hear me talk. I don't do a lot of podcasts and stuff. I've done some on YouTube and
Wow.
did some interviewing for like the IFBB and NPC and stuff like that. So people just like to hear me talk, and they're surprised when I do talk that I'm actually educated and articulate. And they're like, "Oh, I thought you were just some meathead."
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh,
No,
no.
I'm
No.
educated. I'm in grad school. Like I'm educated. I do have a lot to offer the world other than muscles. So.
And because, I mean, I am Katie's favorite person ever. Just kidding, I'm kidding. She will join us on the show and be a familiar person. And if you guys have questions, find her on social media, find us on social media. We'll get it to her, and she'll gladly help you guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Come to MMA and Sport, train with her, train with us. If you guys have been inspired to get involved more healthy, you know, for you and your family, cool. It's very important. Other than that, I just want to thank Lever Dreams. Our producer, Doug, back there is believing in our show, The Sefcik Show. Guys, this takes a lot of work and our own time and money to do this, to build this, to do this for you. So we appreciate, you know, Lever Dreams and Doug for what he's doing to put this together and do it the right way. And other than that, you guys will be continue to do these shows weekly. Please subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. That's our main sources right now until we can do some other things, right? So if you guys can please do that, it would mean a lot to us, because then we know the support, and you guys can email us and write comments like, oh, we want to know this, blah, blah, blah. Like, we want to hear these things. You know what I'm saying? Who do you want on the show? What more do you want to talk about? How do you feel about these things? What are your thoughts on this comment that blah, blah, blah made? We want to know these things. It's time to build and keep being a voice for what's right, you guys.
Yes.
Especially as people that we're in it, guys. We're out there on the fighting lines. We're not going to make this podcast and then go hide and make a bunch of money. We're going to be back in the streets doing our thing, doing what's right for you guys. So does anybody want to pray out? Baby, will you pray us out?
I'll pray out. Dear God, we thank you so much for this fellowship, for being able to be here today. Thank you for all the opportunity that you gave us so that we can keep standing for the truth and speaking the truth. May you always illuminate our path and show us the way, and how we can always serve you in our community, in our families, and in us personally. May we always keep in relationship with you so that we can be always led to the right path. In Jesus' name, thank you so much for everything that we have and that we are in here. Thank you very much. Amen.
Amen. All right. Once again, you guys, The Sefcik Show. This is episode 3 with Katie Lee. Ooh, that rhymed. And my baby.
Hello.
All right, cool. And producer Dougie. All right, I'm done. All right, Sefcik Show. See you guys.